Podcast, the podcast for guitar people by guitar dads. This week, another doc is born in the USA. Cooking with weed is always on this artist's mind. And if you don't want to do it yourself, then you can go F yourself. We're hanging with Alex from Coppersound, the kingpin of the kits. This week on the Guitar Dads Podcast. Now, the dudes who really don't want to do anything themselves, Matt and Dave.
Hello, everybody. I'm Matt.
And I'm Dave. And welcome to the show, everybody. And, real quick, because we want to get into a ton of stuff tonight. Thank you to our loyal listeners for checking us out. And if you're new, check us out next week, too. We hope you enjoy what we bring to you each and every week. Where you can find us at Guitar Dads Podcast on Facebook and Instagram. And even on the YouTube, if you want to go watch it, we do have some listeners who have reached out and said they really enjoy having the videos of the podcast up there. So go check us out on YouTube. Thank you for watching. And if you want to support the show, go over to patreon.com/Guitar Dads Podcast, where you can donate to support the show and keep this thing going. And with a donation, you get an extra episode. So go over and check that out if you like what we're doing. You can get more of it. Not sure why you'd want it, but okay. Sure. Anyway, well, we are really glad to be joined by, like I said in the intro, Alex of Coppersound Pedals, one of our favorite pedal companies and a sponsor of the show. So, Alex, what's up, man?
Hey, Dave. Hey, Matt. How are you guys today?
Hey, man. We are good. We're happy to have you back on the podcast, Alex.
It's been a bit. I think the last time I was on was before we started getting together for some pizza.
This is true.
Pizza.
It's been a long time. That was kind of when we first met you, and now it's blossomed into this nice relationship.
Yeah, it's great. It's nice to see. It's nice to see you guys have enough fans that they're nice enough now to lie and say that they want to see your face in videos. I think that's a big milestone here.
It really is. That's a great point.
Us. You're like, wait, you want to watch us?
You want us on YouTube? What?
Well, most people don't even want to listen to us. You want to watch us?
Yeah, no, I think you guys get some nice fans, and that's really cool.
We do. We have some great listeners, and we love them. Happy to have you on board this week. What's been going on down there?
Yeah, what's up?
Well, today's been a little weird. We've kind of been doing a day-to-day thing here because starting on May 1st, some people may have seen this. Josh over at JHS started his short circuit series using our DIY tools, which we can talk a little bit more about later. And he's been doing, I think he did 4 videos in 3 weeks, and we've just been nonstop flooded in the shop. Day-to-day orders, running out of this, running out of that. Once this comes in, this next thing runs out. We've just, as prepared as we are for stuff, we're definitely grabbing our boogie boards in the wake of the JHS effect, so to speak, as they say, which has been great. We've got a really great community, and people have been really positive, and they've been very patient with us getting these orders out since we're a small shop, as you guys know. And, it's been pretty great. Like, I think we're getting close to 250 orders in the last 3 weeks.
Awesome, man.
Wow, good for you, man.
Pretty much everything's been DIY. And then on top of it today, the shop flooded. We had
yeah, you were saying this.
Yeah, so we had that like flash flood warning, which some people might not even ever get as a warning on their phone or whatever, and just like so much came down at once that the underground sump, at least our hypothesis, is it couldn't even handle that amount of water like per second that was coming down. We had to grab another sump. You guys know that we're at the bottom of a rock driveway, so I had to take my shoes off to not get soapy feet, just wet feet all day. Take those off, go to the rock driveway, bail it out with 5-gallon pails, and then just try to get a second sump down here to try to tame the water. And then afterwards, it was about 75 and sunny out because it's New England.
Yeah, that's what happened this afternoon. It was
came
crazy.
in fast and it left fast. It was crazy today.
So you just got slammed by it. That's unbelievable.
The water, you could literally see it coming down the rock driveway, and it was just like so saturated so fast, we couldn't even keep up with it. And this is a crazy pump that we have here, and never seen it like that. And it was coming in. So we got all the stuff off the ground. just trying to make sure nothing was down there like on the floor, because we have a lot of like cardboard recycling, all that stuff. So flooded with orders, flooded with water. It's been
and for
So good.
listeners too. For the listeners, you're right now you're going to be moving into a bigger space very soon. But right now you're doing this out of your garage, and so in a smaller space there. So to have to kind of work through a flood, that's that. Thankfully, nothing else was really damaged in the whole thing.
Jeez,
Yeah.
I know. And you got a lot of equipment down there, and of course you're dealing with electronics. Like that's scary. So glad that you survived it, Alex. And congrats on the JHS. That's incredible. That's so great. Glad that it's working out so well.
Very cool.
Yeah, very
been
awesome.
great.
Yeah, guys. So you heard it here, guys. Go check out. You heard it here first with the DIY stuff when Alex was on a while back. So, jump on the train if you have any inkling of you want to try this pedal stuff out. I mean, this is a great way to get going on it. So
I gotta say, and it is kind of like I keep thinking about it because it has been something like I just feel like I want to try something like that, but it's like I feel like every time I come up with another excuse to not play guitar, I feel like I'm not taking advantage of learning something. But this is just another interesting, cool thing to do. And I'm getting a little itchy. I may have to get into this thing.
Awesome.
I think you do.
These kits look very cool, and we'll talk about these later on. But shall we, boys? Shall we go into the Dataverse?
Let's go. Ooh.
All right. Well, as we always start off when we have some bad news with news and notes, let's start with that, and we'll get into the happy stuff afterwards. Did you guys hear? This is kind of a sudden thing, like a tragic accident. Charlie Collin, the original founding bassist of Train, died.
Ooh, that's terrible.
He was only 53, I think, because he slipped and fell in the shower. I believe he was in France.
What? That's how he died?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So that was very sad news to come about.
Oh man.
Matt and I know we used to be big fans. Well, we're still kind of fans of Train, but Train's kind of a different thing these days. It's I think it's Pat Monahan,
Agreed.
the only original member.
Is the bald guy still in the band?
No, he's no longer with the band.
Oh, he
either.
left, the lead guitarist?
The lead guitarist gone too. Yep.
Well,
Alex,
were
you a Train fan?
Nothing more than like surface level, like casual radio stuff,
Yeah, like Drop to Jupiter, Meet Virginia, that kind of thing.
Yeah, like I knew the tunes, like you could pick them out easily.
Yeah, I really liked that kind of first album. I would not like their first like major label album, I should say, because they were around for a while before they got signed. But then when they got into that whole Drops of Jupiter and it got really big, that's when to me it started to get really lame. And they like I just didn't connect. I just didn't connect with the music as much as those because those first albums. How many albums were there before Drops of Jupiter? Just the one, or is there a couple? I don't remember.
One, I believe. Major label release, just the one. Yeah.
I really like that one. Was that the Meet Virginia one? I really like the Meet Virginia album.
Yeah.
Is that the same album? I don't even know. I'm not a giant fan, as you can tell, but.
Yeah,
but they were great. They actually
were pretty big fans back in the day.
We saw them at the House of Blues in Boston, or I think it might have been Avalon back in the day. I don't remember. I did like them. I think they're a great rock band, but they kind of got away from the rock band and started doing like kind of lame songs. And I was like Drops of Jupiter, like I just didn't love. And it was just played incessantly on the radio.
Well, that's true. Yeah, it was. You couldn't get away from it on the radio. But all right, well, there's that.
Well, that's sad.
That's sad. On a happier note, the DOJ, the Department of Justice, is moving forward with their lawsuit to try and break up Ticketmaster and Live Nation. So we're happy about this. I don't think we need to spend a ton of time on it.
Yeah, we talked about this. So there was news that came out that said the DOJ was preparing the lawsuit against Live Nation, and now it's happened today. It's done. It's filed. So we'll see what happens. They're seeking to break up, like you said, Live Nation and Ticketmaster, and because it's a monopoly over the ticketing, of course. So, hopefully they're successful in this and it happens. Ticketmaster in response to this, Live Nation / Ticketmaster in response to this said, the fees that they make off the tickets go mainly to the venues. And I was like, wait a minute. They own a lot of the venues too. They don't own all the venues,
so
but they own a lot of the venues too.
The fees we're charging were going directly to our pockets.
And they said that, and the other thing they said was, we don't control the prices of tickets. The artists and their management control the prices of tickets. And it's like, yeah, that's true, but it's BS to say that your fees are not completely out of control, right?
It's
and
true
to go
to
to the
degree,
venues. It's
ridiculous.
ridiculous.
It's true to a degree. Alex, I don't think we ever got your opinion on this in the past. What is your? Have you been following any of this stuff?
I actually haven't been following it outside of, there was a weekend I was working out in the yard and listening to you guys' episode talking about it. I'm definitely like, I've thought about a lot of that corruption there of like, first thing I go do, and maybe I got it wrong, but I'm pretty sure like on Ticketmaster, you could then like scalp on Ticketmaster
You can,
after, which
you can.
I thought selling for higher than ticket value is the illegal part of it.
Yeah.
Or like
no.
They
facilitate.
You can do it directly on the site.
They facilitate it. Yeah.
It feels like, okay, I'm going to go here, buy this, then on that platform now turn it for the profit, and then the usual story goes, the real fans have to pay more.
That's right.
That's
what happens time and time again.
I actually had a fun story that I usually relate to with this. There's a Bay Area band in California called AFI. I don't know if you guys any listeners are familiar with AFI, but they had a show out in like their home area. They're like a hardcore punk band from like the early mid 90s through now. And they had a show out in their area. I think it was. They found out that all the people at the show ended up getting scalped, as in all the people that attended the show had to pay double the price to go see them. The band found out about this. Yeah, so the band found out about this and then put on a free show for everybody that had a ticket that night for the next night.
Oh, that's awesome.
So you could come see them twice. Because you paid twice, they gave you 2 shows.
Oh, that's pretty nice of them. And they didn't see a dime of that paying twice.
No,
right?
They
didn't.
They're very fan oriented. Also,
good for them.
Yeah, so I'm for this. Also, side note, Department of Justice, wouldn't that be a really good like political rock band?
That'd be awesome. That'd be a great name,
right? Opening up for like Rage Against the Machine.
Yeah, I was just gonna say like a side project for Tom Morello.
Yeah. The DOJ is coming to get you with their riffs.
The DOJ. Now, what is that? Is there another? Is there like another band? There's like a hardcore band called the Executive Branch. Like, that doesn't have the same ring to it.
Yeah,
but anyway,
who would they be opening for? Government Mule?
Yeah.
Right, let's move on.
But anyway, I hope something comes of this. I'm not really confident anything's going to come of it. I think that Live Nation is going to fight them to death on this because they have so much to lose, and they'll probably pay some big fine, and nothing's going to change. That's
exactly
my guess. That's my guess. Yeah. So we'll see.
Yeah, we know how all these things end, and it's not going to end well for the consumer, as they never do.
Yeah, it just never does. So anyway,
well, speaking
We're so
of
cheery.
Speaking of the music consumer, there is going to be a new Bruce Springsteen doc coming out. On Hulu. It's going to be 42 and a half hours long and involve the largest cast ever assembled for a documentary. No, I'm just kidding.
It probably will be 42 hours long, though. Because how long is the Bon Jovi one? The Bon Jovi one's like 6 episodes. It's like it's like 12 hours or something, isn't it? I don't know if it's that long, but it's long. It's long.
Yeah.
So anyway.
Yeah, I mean, this is supposed to chronicle their upcoming tour prep. I actually, you know what, this is a kind of documentary, and I'm like everybody else. I like Bruce. I'm not a huge fan. I don't, not an absolute like, got to go see him kind of guy. But
yeah,
this really intrigues me because of the content here, because of the concept, like the idea of the tour prep. I'd love to see what he does.
He's got a much longer career than Bon Jovi, so I think it will be 42 hours long. His Springsteen, but yeah, it's cool. I like these documentaries. Are you into these? Are you into documentaries? Like Behind the Music was like my favorite show ever when that was on in the 90s. But what do you think, Alex?
Yeah, I think like most people, if it's a subject you're involved in, you enjoy it, and if not, you're not going to tune in. You know,
Yeah,
I can't
totally.
see a person be like, I hate all documentaries, no matter how much I love the thing. I love muscle cars. I hate the document. Like, I feel like people want to
That's right.
watch stuff that they are involved in, they like, and
Yeah.
especially musical stuff. Like any like making of the albums, I'm a sucker for that stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah. Oh,
it's
yeah.
really
Love
cool.
that stuff. And
Hmm.
I just like, I love watching behind the scenes stuff with live shows in general. I like to see how it all comes together. I like to see a lot of the stage building and the prep and all the stuff that
Hmm.
they do. Um, and the rigs and all that stuff. And so I think this is actually a really intriguing kind of concept here. So
Yeah,
um,
cool.
I'll have to check it out.
Let's see it. Let's see it. Springsteen, nice.
So this is actually interesting. Willie Nelson is dropping a book pretty soon, but it's not what you think. It is a weed cookbook. Of course, it's Willie Nelson.
Yeah, yeah. What
But
else would he be doing?
he and
Oh
his wife are
man.
putting out a Willie and Annie Nelson's cannabis cookbook, and it comes out November 12th. You guys cooking?
Um, no, but
Okay.
I like this as a concept, and I think he's going to sell a bunch of it because
Of course he is.
he's one of the ambassadors of weed. He just
Mm.
is. So
Yep.
it's a good move on his part. But I don't know, like some people that are really into weed are into the like cooking with weed, like brownies and different things, and then people make like savory things with like the oil, right? Which
Hmm.
seems weird to
Yes.
me too. But I don't know. People are into this. I mean, if this is your thing, I mean, why not? I don't know. It's good. It's nice and on brand for Willie, though.
It's
It's,
totally on brand.
it's yeah. It seems like nothing here is surprising.
Nothing is surprising to me.
Now, if you're
Uh,
saying
Remember,
like
really,
he's pursuing a career in marionettes, I'd be like, oh, this is something different.
yeah.
Oh, he's doing
a weed,
marionettes, but he's gonna make them astronauts. Okay, this is a
a
little different for
weed.
Willie.
That's a little different for Willie, but Willie weed cookbook, same thing.
Makes sense.
Oh
And
yeah,
so that's
Willie's
another.
Willie,
So
Willie's doing a Metallica cover album. That's
yeah,
amazing.
that is so weird. Willie, that's another. We've talked about this in the past, but I think Willie's guitar. What's it called? Trigger? Is that how he refers to it?
I think that's his guitar. Yeah.
I think Willie's guitar could, if it ever gets sold, I don't think it ever will. But if there's some off chance that it gets sold, it could be like the most expensive guitar ever sold because
You
it's
think
probably one of
so?
the most iconic guitars out there. Yeah.
More than the Cobain, more than the Gilmore. You
I
think it
think it
would
has the
sell?
potential because it's so iconic
Oh,
and Willie's played it
yeah.
for so long. It's like the guitar, right?
Is he
Like,
enough of a pop culture icon nowadays for that to happen? Like,
no,
is he
but
kind of like
Mm.
fizzled out in terms of pop culture, whereas like Kurt
I
Cobain
don't think
never
so.
really fizzled out? You know,
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like he'd have to be like that's what I'm saying. Like if he died, because how old is he? He's like 90.
he's yeah.
If he died and they sold that guitar, I bet it would go for mega bucks. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm wrong. But there's very few like iconic guitars like that. Like it has a name, people know about it. Like it's one of those things. So anyway, we'll
Yeah,
see.
no, you could be
We'll
right.
see. Speaking of guitar,
All right.
speaking of expensive guitars.
Speaking of expensive guitars, this is kind of I like how so we're big fans of Tyler Bryant on this show, and
Yeah, Tyler
I
Bryant, the
like
Shakedown.
Tyler Bryant, the Shakedown man. So Tyler Bryant was so this company Fesley Guitars apparently I think some kind of a Les Paul copy. They used AI to kind of superimpose that onto or you superimpose like the picture was basically Tyler Bryant playing this thing and almost and endorsing it. And he caught wind of it and basically came out and said, "Nope, ain't me, not me. I don't endorse this brand. I don't play them." And
Hmm.
I just find
This
this
is
to be kind of
bold.
an interesting. Well, this to me is like a springboard to a bigger discussion of you know how far AI can really go in music. We've talked about the recording aspect of things. We talked about an entirely AI artist a few months ago.
Yeah, that's right.
Um,
Well, this is like,
So
this is just like the whole AI kind of deep fake thing, right? Like you're
yep.
only going to be able to make more convincing pictures using AI than, we used to be able to do in Photoshop. So, yeah, I mean, this is what's going to happen. This is a risk that all people need to watch out for. If you're a celebrity or a famous person of any kind, you have to be watching out for this stuff. But this is a bold move because Tyler Bryant like isn't like a household name, and I think that's what makes it even more bold because
You
it's
think that makes
believable.
it more bold?
Because it's
Yes. Well, that's
believable. Because it's believable. Like
yeah,
if
but
they threw Slash on there, like it's kind of, no one would believe it.
right.
But because it's like Tyler Bryan, who's this kind of guy that's up and coming, kind of flies under the radar, but is kind of well known enough because he has some Fender signature guitars. It's a bold move on their part, and they probably would have got away with it, too, if it wasn't for these damn kids.
Hey, well, and you wonder how many smaller artists are with their companies are getting away with it because of the fact that they're just not as known.
And here's the thing:
Sure to see more of it.
here's the thing. Now we're talking about this damn company that did this, right? So they totally did this for the no publicity is bad publicity, right? They totally
That's a good
did
point.
it for that reason.
I shouldn't have even mentioned the name.
Well, yeah, I don't know. Now, Alex, would you ever? I know the answer is no. I mean, Alex, as someone that runs a gear company, like doesn't this piss you off?
The first place my mind went to was this industry is so cool and laid back and like positive and everything and very collaborative instead of competitive, and like this isn't cool. Just be cool. That's like the only rule in the book. Like just be cool.
It is.
And collaborative and all that stuff, and like this feels very like like Gen Z corporate type of thing.
Yes.
And like I don't know if that's the right thing to do. It's like, oh, this is big artists, put our thing on there, try to get this type of thing, and it's like I like that he called them out. Also,
it's great.
The guitar brand, if we're gonna not say their name, why do they have the Tesla logo for the E?
Yeah, they do. They do.
So you went on the site, so you took it one step further.
Well, no, it's on this article. It's on this.
Yeah,
article.
It's in the article. Yeah,
I'm on the Guitar World. I don't know. I like that he called it out. You know what I mean? Yeah. Imagine like if we put like our stuff at the feet of like, oh, check it out, John Mayer's doing our thing, and then John's like, yeah, I'm not doing this, and then it's like, oh, the potential pro of here now gets squashed by this company's just fake and lying.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Like who is this benefiting?
Seriously, yeah.
And part of me wonders if this culture, like what percentage of people buying something is influenced by that player. And like I get it, there are those large icons like a John Mayer, or that type of thing that might. I mean, and maybe I'm completely coming off arrogant here since we have Jack White playing one of our things, like
right. You're so arrogant.
But is that why they buy it? And if it is so, that is cool. Part of me wonders, like people always come in here, especially like even in the beginning of the days up till now, they're like, dude, you got to get so and so this thing and then sell 1 million of them. And it's like that person doesn't have to go on like a podium talking about our thing, and normally they don't. They're just making music with it, and the nerds find out what the board is. The nerds find out what the amp is, all that type of stuff. It's like they're not making YouTube channels about it. Maybe you get a rig rundown. That's really cool. Really, really great to see. But like,
that's exactly right, Alex.
I definitely have some skepticism in like the ROI of like giving free stuff to big people but the thing is, if you even like find like say a big artist who's even interested in playing your thing, like I can't, how do I even start this? Like if you were to get a hold of a big artist and be like, hey, can we send you something? Sure, why not? But they don't really know the product. They don't care about it. They're not passionate about it. That's fine. But is that going to help us? If so-and-so has the thing and then they don't know what it is, they don't know how it's used, they can't pronounce it. Like you'd want somebody that reaches out to you because they're passionate about it, clearly.
I totally agree. Like to get there from that angle is better. Mm-hmm. Look, it could, like Wampler has the story about how he kind of fought his way up to the stage and like threw a pedal up there for Brad Paisley, and Brad Paisley liked it and all that. And that's like the story about how he got hooked up with Paisley. But I think that was like he just kind of he did it at the right time, right before like the pedal market was saturated.
Yeah, I don't know if you could copy paste that story and it works for It's like, hey, all you have to do is throw this thing up there and your company will skyrocket. It's like also at the end of the day, you'd still have to do all the work.
You still have to exactly.
You're not done,
And actually, Doug Cower, when he was on, he told us a story about how we heard. Actually, this is a 6 degree of separation thing. Brad Whitford, who his son Graham plays in Tyler Bryant and the Shakedown, and Graham Whitford has a Cower as well, as I understand it. But apparently, he just reached out because he thought the guitars were cool. And he reached out and he called, and Doug told the story on the podcast, and he was like, "It's freaking Brad Whitford's tech on the phone, right?" It's like, and he wants one. And I think Doug even said to him like he made the guitar he wanted, and Doug was like, "Look, man, I can't just give you this. Like we're running a business here." And they're like, "No, we'll pay for it, no problem," And to me, like that's a huge endorsement, right? That like they actually got it, paid for it, and are into it, right? I think that, like you said, Alex, I think it's exactly the way it should work, right? That's a bigger compliment than, I put a guitar in this guy's hands and he kind of like maybe played it once and that's it.
So, this is an interesting topic for a full episode too.
It is. I know we're getting down a path here, but
you gotta question this though, guys, in the sense that. What was the motivation here for this company if they really thought this thing out? Because clearly they didn't. If this small company is saying they're either anticipating that somebody who has no idea who Tyler Bryant is going to see this and just go to their website and check out these guitars because they like the guitars, that's likely to not happen. The more likely scenario is if you know who Tyler Bryant is, then you're coming across this picture and you know that he doesn't play these guitars, and you're not going to check these things out anyway. So I don't really understand the motivation here other than to maybe sneak one in and hope for the best. I mean, what do they gain? Like a few people, a little bit of traffic.
It's dumb. To their site? And like I said, it's dumb enough because he's not super recognizable either. So it's even more dumb. It like the whole thing is dumb.
Yeah. You make a good point, Dave. Like authentic and genuine fans are going to know that this is probably not real.
Yeah.
And they're going to, if they see it and they're like, I wonder if this is like a new thing he's trying out, they're going to probably research it.
That's right. I would have. Right. I would have. If I saw this just on Instagram, I would have been like, "Oh, interesting. Tyler's trying a new company. He's endorsing a new company. That's real cool. I'm gonna go check it out." And that's really misleading, and it's really shitty. And hopefully, they take it all down. So
just one last point. Like I'm trying to think of like when you're a fan of somebody and their gear and their brand and their aesthetic, like. I'll instantly go back to like the Jack White reference, but if you saw like, oh, he's playing like a Jackson Dinky that's pink on tour with his solo band, every fan of Jack's that's pretty deep knows his solo stuff is blue, white, black only, nothing else acceptable.
Yeah.
So that pink guitar, that's something like somebody made a funny thing online, but it's not some dude making a joke, which is fine. It's somebody trying to promote a brand authentically, maybe, or maybe they're trolling here. Either way, it feels a little, it's a bad look.
It's a
very bad look. Yeah, because the music fan, the Tyler Bryant fan who doesn't play guitar isn't going to think anything of this. It's just a picture of Tyler Bryant playing a guitar. The guitar player who's a Tyler Bryant fan will instantly recognize that either A, that's not the kind of guitar that Tyler Bryant plays. Let me go research this, and then immediately know that this isn't true. Or B, not even bother to research. So what's the point? I don't know. But moving on out of the Dataverse. Matt, did you know? Well, actually, Alex, this is a better question for you. Did you know that the Guitar Dads podcast is sponsored by Coppersound Pedals?
What?
I missed the email.
Oh, you didn't get that memo?
No.
You did not get the memo?
No, our fax machine was down. The pigeon was sick.
So
yeah, we faxed it to you. That's right. That's why.
Yeah, and
well,
just want to let you know that the Coppersound Pedals is a boutique pedal company building unique effects right here in Massachusetts.
Take it away, Alex. Tell them about it.
Take it away, Alex. I can't do it any better than you.
So I thought it'd be appropriate to spotlight our DIY stuff since we were talking about it at the top of the episode. So our DIY tools.
Wait, you're
came
fixing homes?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, cool.
Do you get this at the
This is
Home
awesome.
Depot? Okay, all right. Sorry, Alex.
We're exclusive to Lowe's at this
Oh,
point.
you go with
So,
Lowe's. Okay,
all
all
right.
right. Okay,
Yeah.
all right.
Yeah, so the DIY stuff you guys had mentioned, this is like tools for people that want to like get into making effects or breadboarding or modifying things, or they're already there, but we have tools that never existed before. Essentially, it's tools to like speed up your creativity, not bog you down, and we have a lot of tools that have never existed before. So, like any pedal that's on your board, if you're listening to this and you're playing something on your board, you're gigging with it, you're recording with it, 95 or more percent chance, unless it's fully digital, it was breadboarded. So it was put on like this white slab with holes, has some power, and it gets some audio to it. However, you could never get power and audio to it. So we set it up like a guitar pedal where it's like you can plug your guitar into it, out to your amp. You can plug 9-volt center negative, just like all your other pedals. And there's a toggle switch with an LED to turn it on and off. So you can breadboard just like how you'd play a pedal. So we have that.
That's
we have
awesome.
substitution boxes, so you can try out different components on the fly without having to pull the part out, grab a new part, put it back in. I already forgot what it sounded like. So we have stuff like that. We have adapters and toggle switches. We have, and the best thing actually, and stuff that Dave was kind of talking about at the top or before the episode, was like, we have these cool kits that we've come out with where you can build stuff like a classic fuzz face or a rat style circuit where you got page by page instructions. It's got a little bit of an overview, nothing overwhelming, a little bit of like what stuff does, how the breadboard works, and then it gets right into building the kit just like Legos, where it's like 12 to 15 pages. Each page is a step, and a step just shows what parts you're going to use, what the schematic part you're working with is, and then an actual like high-res DSLR picture of the breadboard, so you could literally copy one for one what I did and we took a picture of. And
That's
now
great.
you've got a great reference point. We've got some FAQs and troubleshooting at the end. We've done hundreds and hundreds of these kits, and it's been really great to hear almost nobody have an issue building with it. And
Oh,
if
that's
they
great.
do, if they've like, oh, I missed one wire, and I like, hey, send me a picture. Hey, our thing isn't working. And I'll check out the picture. Oh, you missed this part. You didn't ground this. Oh, great. It works. Good to go.
Oh,
So that's
awesome.
really great to, I think when Philip was here, we were hanging out. He even said like he's got one of the kits I think he was working with, and it's
He
very
was.
accessible, very user-friendly.
Yes.
We dumbed it down. So if you don't know anything, because pretty much everybody getting into this world, we're all nerds here, but like not the inside stuff that looks cool. We just wanted to make stuff to speed up your creativity and get rid of like the annoying headaches and really give back to the community and create like a love letter.
Yeah, it's awesome.
These things, this is such a unique and cool idea. And I don't believe any other pedal company is doing these, right? Am I right in saying that?
So there are companies that will do some like DIY kits. Like you could, like I think Zach at Mythos had like a kit, and like you'll see like the BYOC kits online where you could make like an actual finished pedal, but you're
Right,
not
but
really
not-
learning about it, and you're not
That's
like
right.
breadboarding
It's
stuff.
different. This is different.
So
Yeah.
like people aren't really doing what we're doing here, which
Yeah.
is really great because you know what, it's always better to have like a pretty unique product. And like over the last year and a half, we've done $0 of marketing of this, and it's just been people finding out about it in stores, dealers. Like I said, the JHS show has just skyrocketed it because people become aware. So like it's two factors, right? You guys all know, like if Josh talks about something, all of a sudden it's hot, right? Or Reverb
Yep.
goes crazy about it. But there's two factors here. Josh brings a good awareness to stuff. And the second aspect is he's talking about something that doesn't exist in the world. So that's just everybody's flooding our sites to grab stuff because our kits that I talked to you about, like, oh, I want to build a fuzz face or a rat or like an old school Rangemaster.
Yep.
Our stuff comes with the parts. It comes with the instructions. It comes with the breadboard. It comes with the 9-volt power supply and all of like the troubleshooting stuff. It comes with like a resistor code reading chart, some education. It's all for $69.
That's
So
awesome.
Yeah.
people can get into it, and you know what? If you didn't like it, you tried it, and now you know. And it wasn't crazy. It wasn't like, oh, I got to spend like $500 on this. There's no soldering. There's no anything.
There's
you
no.
know?
I wanted to bring that up. There isn't any soldering on this. So this is different. I mean, people might be familiar with, like you said, like pedal kits. You need to solder with those things. This
Right.
is essentially like a pedal kit, but it's at the breadboard, so it's a much
Mhm.
easier. It's much more like Legos, right? I mean, you have to have an understanding of what the heck you're doing, but it's much more like Legos. Like even I could probably mess around with something like this.
Well, I wouldn't go
I
that
could I could
far.
barely build the
I
Nauticon.
wouldn't go that
Oh,
far.
okay, thanks, guys.
Well, the thing, Alex, is like the one thing we've talked to a few people that have built pedals, and we know you can get kits all over the internet and build a specific
Mhm.
pedal or other, or kind of mess around with things. But the barrier to entry has always been like the complexity, or are you going to screw it up, or is it even good quality?
Mhm.
Here, you're eliminating all of that. You're getting good quality. You're not going to screw it up. Your customer service is top notch. So if you have a problem, like you said, people can reach out to you if they're having an issue, and
Yeah,
you'll deal with it.
it's great.
So
Mhm.
yeah, these things are so cool.
It's so cool, man. And don't forget, you can get a discount with the dads,
That's right.
Mhm.
What is it,
You,
Dave?
Yeah, if you
at checkout, right, Dave? What's our code?
at checkout, you can get 100% discount. If you no, I'm just kidding. You can get a 10% discount if you type in the code DADS10 when you check out.
Dad's
So
10.
go do it, guys. Get one of these things. I mean,
That's amazing. I love it.
Even if you're like a Lego fan, you should get one of these things because it's just fun to build.
And when you're at it, throw in a triple graph. You will not be
That's right.
disappointed.
You just can't breadboard the triple graph. That's
No.
the only caveat there.
That's a fully built thing. You can't. No, sorry, that's a little bit too advanced. But I'm just
check
saying
it
you should
out.
just get one. Yeah.
Yep. Use the code DADS10 at checkout. You go to coppersoundpedals.com/DIY. That'll populate all the stuff. Have a look. Try it out. See if it's for you. Maybe build it with your kid or build it at night. Just have fun with it and check us out.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well,
check it
thanks.
out, guys.
Well, thanks to our sponsor, Coppersound Pedals. All right.
Yeah. All right, gents.
What are we on to next?
We are moving on to this is actually a cool band that I want to talk about because we often do bands you should be listening to on this show, and this is another one.
Yeah.
The band is called The Effect, and you know who the guitarist is? Steve Lukather's son.
Oh,
Trev
interesting.
Lukather.
Trev Lukather. Does he play guitar?
He does play guitar. Yeah, he's the guitarist.
Trev Lukather.
I got to say, it's not total. I didn't think it was going to be totally my thing because they're no surprise, a little proggy.
Yeah.
But they're very cool. They got a bunch of singles out. I don't think they have a full length record or an EP or anything like that right now. But what was interesting about this article that where I came across this band is Trev's point of it, and Matt's made this point. It like you got all these guitarists on socials. Get off of TikTok, get off of Instagram, and go form a band.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, totally.
So
I totally agree. Yeah.
You guys don't seem to be into that.
I totally agree with you there. I know.
Cameras.
We're like, yeah, whatever. No. I totally agree with this. And this is where, I think people that have this TikTok fame, Instagram fame for being amazing guitarists should get themselves in bands, right? Like we've seen it with a few, we didn't talk about it because we've been kind of, having a hard time with when we're going to record, but there was the news about the Smashing Pumpkins that I posted in the Facebook group, but they chose like a really popular social media guitar influencer. What's her name? Oh, I don't remember her name.
Oh, of course you're going to.
This amazing woman who plays guitar and has been on Instagram for a while and TikTok and just massive followers, but she's going to be the touring guitarist with the Smashing Pumpkins. Kiki Wong. Yeah. So if you don't know Kiki Wong, she's more of a metal player, but I mean, that's awesome. Like, and then the woman, I never remember her last name, Sophie, what's her name, that played with Machine Gun Kelly.
Sophie Burrell.
No,
not Sophie Burrell. No, not Sophie Burrell.
Yeah.
So I know I always want to say Sophie Burrell.
Yeah.
Is it Lloyd?
Sophie Lloyd. Yes,
Lloyd.
thank you. Sophie Lloyd, who played with Machine
and
Gun
definitely
Kelly.
not Sophie B. Hawkins.
No, not Sophie B. Hawkins. But I think actually Sophie Burrell has a band that she started. And she's putting out music too. So I think it's great when these influencers put out music and start bands and all this stuff. Of course, it's not for everybody, and it's mainly going to be for like the younger crowd, right? Because a lot of our favorite YouTubers, that play guitar, like they've kind of been there and done that, or they are actively touring as like sidemen and stuff as well. So it's kind of interesting to see that. But yeah, I agree. Like if you're a young guitar player, like get out there and play music, create it, get out there and play with people. I think I love to see that. It's cool that people can be in TikTok, but come on,
Yes, but come on, get out.
Yeah.
The other interesting piece of this is that Steve Perry is singing on one of their singles.
Oh, really?
And why I bring that up is Steve can still sing. Now, can he do Journey stuff?
No.
Maybe not.
He can still
but
sing.
He can still sing.
He put out an album. Didn't he put out an album? He put out a Christmas album that I didn't like at all. But he also
that's a Christmas album.
I know. But I get into the Christmas music at Christmas time. And it was okay. Like my wife is the biggest Journey fan ever, and it like came on, and I was like, "Do you know who this is?" She's like, "Whatever it is, it's terrible." And I was like, "It's Steve Perry." She's like, "Oh my god!" So yeah, it was bad. But yeah, that's interesting. Good for him. He's still doing it. So
the whole like famous on social media thing where it's like it's just videos like on your phone and stuff like that. Like it makes me wonder, like with how much talent there is out there, like trying to foreshadow and having like this, hindsight, and like it makes me wonder about like the talent, the legacy that'll be left behind. Like if you've got this amazing artist or band and you like share the record with your friend, or they go home and they listen in the car, whatever it is, type of thing, that feels like more tangible and like a legacy there versus like, hey, check out this sick video on Instagram and that's the end of it type of thing.
Yes.
But there's 150,000 of those quick things that are incredibly well produced, and like, but like, where's the thing? It's almost like seeing only movie trailers instead of the movie.
I love that,
I feel like they could like take that talent, effort, production, make a record, even if it's like EPs, whatever it is, like something that's like more even in the digital space with like streaming stuff, like something more quote tangible and to have, you know what I mean? Like imagine if it was like David Gilmour was just an Instagram artist, if there was that back in the day, and like they didn't do Wish You Were Here, or they didn't do all these things. It's like, oh yeah, just check it out, he's doing some licks at his coffee table.
Yeah, it's
like
what the
we're
hell?
playing the backing tracks. Like what are we doing?
Like what the hell? Like what the hell is going on? Right? Totally agree, Alex. It's just ridiculous. So
like time capsule it, so to speak. Like put it on something. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and do something creative, right? And because you could argue, okay, maybe they're doing something creative, but
sure.
I think it's a great idea. Like there's one guy that I follow, I forget what his name is, but I really like him because he'll like put on Instagram clip of a solo. He's like, this is a solo in my song and check out my album. And you listen to the solo and you're like, wow, that sounds really cool. I'm going to go check out this guy's album. Right. Like that's the kind of stuff I like to see on Instagram. Like, yeah, he's still able to show off, but he's like, this is just a part of this whole kind of, like you said, Alec, this whole piece of work that I have put out, rather than like, to be honest, like Kiki Wong, it was just, here's some licks, like this is what it is.
It makes me wonder the longevity of that thing. You know what I mean? Like this platform is hot. This artist and influencer is big here, but like, does that keep going? Like
agreed. I think
whereas
it's
like a record can be out there forever. And granted, I mean, with storage and all that stuff, like you could have it on servers forever, but it's like,
right.
I don't know. You're not going to be like, dude, check out these quick 30-second videos and like scroll through all of them. Like we want to see something I can listen to in the car.
Yeah, I agree. Like that's not
such a good point.
That's
Alex.
not what music is. That's not what and even, we love all the YouTubers. Like a lot of them are our friends now, but like, we don't go like, oh, listen to this sick demo of this pedal that this guy did. Like we don't. Maybe you do, well, Alex, as a pedal maker.
We do.
Maybe you do, but it's the same thing. You're not like, no, you're going to say like, listen to this album that Jack White did, where he used the triple graph on this album, and this is what he did to create it. Like that's what you're going to remember, right?
Yeah.
So it's really like a deeper creative process when you're putting together a band and an album and that kind of thing. It's like, we're not. I don't think any of us are discounting like any of the talent.
No, we're not. We're saying
skill of any of these. People,
I mean,
right?
what I'm not putting words in any of your mouths, but I'm saying it seems like slightly waste of talent to me. Like I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. To me, it does. right?
I'd say, yeah, I'm kind of I'm in the camp of like, there's the talent is there. It's take that uh, energy and everything and, apply it. Maybe something that's like, oh, in 10 years, oh yeah, remember those 4 albums they did and people are listening to them over and over and they love them
Yeah.
because they found it. It's not like, oh yeah, this platform isn't really relative anymore. Now I've got to make a new thing for this platform, do it again. And maybe that's what they want to do. Who knows? I just think like the longevity. I'm trying to look downstream, so to speak.
Yeah, I agree. Totally. All right.
Well, kind of to dovetail on that topic, I've been wanting to bring this up for a couple episodes. We just kind of haven't squeezed it in, so I thought maybe we can go through this really quick because it kind of makes sense with what we just mentioned. There was a study done. This is an interesting thing. The question posed is, where are all the great female electric guitarists? Matt and I have spent a lot of time in the show trying to highlight, women in rock, because we think it's really important. And this research, this was published in the Journal of Popular Music Studies, which I know Matt subscribes to.
What the hell?
But the study was conducted by a guitarist and a student named Isabella Fincher, and she analyzed. So the study analyzed coverage of 43 influential female guitarists from between 1959 and 2023. And basically came to a few different interesting numbers here. According to the study, 16.3% of them never appeared in a single article. 46% were mentioned fewer than 10 articles. And they were often, when they were mentioned, they were in connection with work with a well-known male artist. And they reference here like Orianthi with Michael Jackson, Lady Bo with Bo Diddley. And then I actually have never heard of this guitarist, Carmen Vandenberg with Jeff Beck.
Yeah.
But I think the point here is, why aren't female guitarists getting more love? And why haven't they gotten more love over the course of history?
Yeah. Well,
is it as obvious
I
as
didn't
we think,
read this,
or is this a deeper thing?
I didn't read this, but something seems a little bit weird about this study because there's not a lot of women playing electric guitar. So of course they're going to be underrepresented in the guitar. Well, not in the guitar press, but in music press, right?
Well, wouldn't you think they would be more represented?
There's just not that many of them, right?
Well,
so
yeah, by number, but don't you think they would be featured a little bit more because there are so few?
Well, so no, I'm arguing no. That's the reason why they're not mentioned as much in the music
I'm arguing
press.
Against that.
Yeah,
no, I totally understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is, I'm surprised that because there are so few, you would think that there would be the occasional feature in a number of these magazines over the years of certain artists because of that fact,
look, women are underrepresented in the guitar world. They just are. It's getting better and better and better. There's amazing players out there. And I think we need to kind of come away from, oh, this is an amazing female player, right? I think we should just, and I know that the women get upset.
Totally
I know that women artists get upset about that. They're like, oh, you're pretty good as a female player. It's like, no, like,
I'm a guitar
Nita
player.
Strauss is better than most, right? And
that's
so,
right.
That's the issue that I think I think that's the issue. It just is. They're just underrepresented and they got a long way to go. And it's, they're going to get there though. There's some amazing artists out there. I did find what was interesting, David, when I did read this article. This is a Guitar World article that references this. I didn't read the study. I don't do that much homework for the show, guys. But they did talk about Sister Rosetta Tharpe, like some of these real influential people. And it is just true that in that time, women were just like disregarded. Like, no, a woman couldn't be as influential,
couldn't hold a candle
as
to
somebody else. So that is true. Like, especially in those days, that's true. I question, I don't know that that's really going on today, but maybe it is. Maybe it is. I don't know. But we gotta give credit where credit's due. So,
I think my mind actually kind of goes on what Matt was saying. I don't know if you're putting to this point of the sample rate might be smaller, but I'm kind of thinking about now, why is the sample rate smaller? And most likely it comes probably down to I was thinking of it kind of like priority and privilege type of thing, because it's obviously the farther back you go, it's like, how come there's not as many female musicians and stuff like that? Well, they couldn't pick up the guitar because they were fighting to be able to vote.
Yeah,
Stuff that the guys were able to do.
That's a great point.
They didn't have time to play bass in this band because they're still fighting for their autonomy over like reproductive shit. You know what I mean?
That's a good point.
Stuff that for us seems so mundane nowadays because, again, being from the part of the country we are, but like that's still happening. It's like you're gonna have to like prioritize. It's like, hey, should we restring your guitar and teach you how to play, or be able to have like your own autonomy over your body?
Yeah,
there's a priority there type of thing, and it makes me wonder. I know that's not necessarily what the article is focused on.
No, but
it obviously
inherently
stems. It inherently stems that way. It's like, why aren't there as many people in? It's also a bit of a boys' club, and I think the shift takes a while. It just inherently takes a while, and
it's shifting. It's definitely shifting in recently, in a good direction. But
that's why I think Nita, what Nita's done has been so trailblazing, because like
and Lizzie Hale too.
Lizzie, absolutely. Lizzie's totally like is carrying the torch of female rock stars. But I want to focus on Nita because I think what she's done is so trailblazing, because if we're 100% honest, Alice Cooper has always kind of had a female in his band as kind of a shtick, right? Like, oh, I got like this like shredder chick in my band. Like, let's just be honest, that's what it was. And she's kind of yeah. And then it just like, and she transcended that, that it's not just like a novelty. It's like she's an actual amazing player that has built a career for herself and used that as a jumping off point and built a career for herself as a serious player. Right. And I don't want to discount her. Like, that's not why she got on the band. She got on the band because she's an incredible player, but it was always like, that was what it was. Right. Like, that's what, that was his shtick with his band. Right. And she's transcended it, and I give her a ton of credit for that, and I think we're seeing that more and more.
He always had like he always had a female player in the band.
Well, for a long time. Yeah, for a long time.
I'm not a huge follower of Alice. I mean, I like some of his music, and I know certainly since Nita's joined, I've paid much more attention. But yeah, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, who was the guitarist before Nita was Orianthi?
Oh yes,
yeah. She was in the band for a long time.
Yeah. No, you're right.
And so like, and maybe she was the trailblazer that kind of opened the door for Nita. But the whole thing is there. So there you go. But yeah, I mean, look, like Alex said, there's a long way to go, and I think they're only getting better and better. And it's great to see some big bands, bring in these female guitarists that are just incredible. So,
yeah, we even see it. I was going to say, we even see it in our world directly. Like, we don't see a lot of like female representation in the guitar world. You go to NAMM and it's a dude fest in there.
Yep. You don't. Yeah, that's true. In the gear world, you don't see it either.
You really don't.
Here's a question, Alex. Are there any? And I agree with Matt, and I think most people do. Like, enough of this like female and male thing. Like, it's guitarist, right? Are there any? But you kind of have to kind of label it as to ask the question. Are there any female-owned pedal companies?
There are.
Fantone, I would say, is the first one I think of. And there's a lot. I'd probably have to, like, off the top of my head, that was the first one. Devi Ever, I believe, is another one. And again, you don't see it super as often. You know what I mean? It's definitely like a white dude fan club type of thing, and I don't think it's it's not designed that way by any means necessary. It's just inherently just, I don't know if it's just guys tend to be
what it is.
Tinkerers, I don't know what it is. There are probably more that I'm forgetting. I think actually Recovery Effects, it's this guy and his wife. So you see a lot of like, you see a lot of stuff. I know Shannon from Fuzzrocious, who we're going to talk about. She does all the hand painting with the kids as well. So
that's cool.
You do see some of that representation.
Okay.
that type of thing. Or if it's not the main thing, sometimes they're involved. Bigger companies obviously inherently will have more female employees, like Earthquaker, JHS, stuff like that. And at our place, we have representation for female, for our non-binary friends, and our trans community as well.
Look at that.
Which is kind of nice to
That's
have
awesome.
as well.
That's great, man.
But again, it's not like the forefront of stuff. It's just inherently a boys' club, and we're not against changing that. It's just that's
what it is.
Just the way it
is. I got my
It's been the
stories.
way it is.
I got my stories straight on Alice Cooper. So Orianthi really was the first. She was the trailblazer. She was the first female.
I don't remember.
She was the first female
back
to play in Allison, but that happened in 2011, so it's been quite some time. And that's my point. Like, she was in it for
13 years.
She was in it
but
for
Alex
a
has
long
been around
time.
since the way back.
No, you're right. It wasn't like he had it for a long. But if we go back to then, and then when she left, Nita came in, so he like replaced the female with the female. I mean, that was my point. And I think Orianthi transcended it, and Nita has transcended it. It's just awesome to see. So
yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Anyway,
walking it back.
There we
that's
go.
all right. That's good.
We got to correct our facts sometimes.
we like the fact correction on here.
All right, what do we got? Are we ready for this now? It's a dad joke on the way. And now, Dave, what's a dad joke? Very difficult to deal. No, I don't think that deserves applause, but okay.
I wonder why nobody is sponsoring this segment. Why is nobody writing into this segment?
Yeah, why don't people want to do it? We've gotten a bunch of them. But anyway.
I've submitted one.
Did you submit one? What
did you submit one? Yes, you did. I believe.
Oh my God! What did Dave just disregard it completely? Jeez.
No, I think I read it actually.
It must.
Didn't I read that?
I'm pretty sure I said it was something like, "I'm going on a sea trip and I really want to play with my pedals, so I better get my paddle board." Or
oh yeah,
like
yes, yes. Stupid. I think I read that.
We might have done that one already. Oh, okay. That's my paddle board. Oh, that's so good.
That's right.
That's so. Oh, you know what you need? So here's the thing. Speaking of boards, here's an idea for you, Alex. You got to make a pedal board that's a breadboard.
Here we go. We come to this.
So it's like a breadboard, but it's an actual pedal board.
It's great when you travel through TSA. It's great live.
How about a cutting board that looks like a pedal board, a pedal breadboard, right?
Well, it's funny that you mentioned that, Dave. Like, I believe the origin in etymology of breadboard was like a cutting board or something for bread.
For bread,
and they would nail nails there and wrap the components around the stuff to have it conductive.
Well, that makes sense. That's why it's called the breadboard.
I believe that's the origins.
Makes total sense.
Somebody,
oh, really?
Yes, a friend of ours told us I need to write a book about breadboards like Brian Wampler did for mods.
You should, man. You should do it.
Yes,
cool.
yeah.
You should write a breadboard.
Maybe the dad joke of the week will sponsor it.
Maybe. Oh, it's so good. All right. What are we doing, Dave? We're up on time, but what do you want to do? What do we bring it?
We are getting up on time, but do we want to mention one gear thing you wanted to talk about?
Let's do, and then we'll
kind of wrap it up on the Patreon.
Yeah, we'll do some other fun stuff on Patreon. What do you want? You want to talk about a piece of gear? You want to talk about?
Or Alex, do you want to mention the Fuzz Roches, the big fella?
The Fuzz Roches big fella. Yeah, talk about this.
Yeah, so as soon as you guys were asking
I
about,
usually want to talk about my big fella on here.
Yeah.
Whoa, boom, boom. Where's the sound effects there?
If you're still tuning in, it's spicy.
All right. Anyway.
Yeah, so something I wanted to point out for like new or pretty new gear is our pal Ryan Ratatsky from Fuzz Roches. You may know them from the previous rat tail that turned into the cat tail. They do a lot of custom work. I had mentioned his wife and kids do some of the artwork for this stuff.
That's cool.
So these guys have been around a while. There was a reverb video done back in the day of like Ryan in his workshop at his basement, that type of thing. So they had this thing called the Lil Fella, and I believe it was a derivative of their Demon pedal. And now they have the Big Fella. This is a bigger guy. It's a new form factor that they're doing. So it's 1590 BB. So it's like a Caroline pedal. Or I'm trying to think of like some of those popular stuff that's out on the market.
It looks like my.
think about.
It looks exactly in the enclosure of my Keeley Caverns. Is
Yeah,
that right? Is that right,
but,
Alex? Or?
But it's the same enclosure. But yeah, it's the same enclosure as that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
Exactly. Or like the Ditto X2, something like that.
Ditto X2. Yep.
Something very popular like that. So they're doing this. This is a new form factor for them. It's 2 foot switches, bottom, left, and right. And then they have a foot switch in the middle, but it's at the very like top, of the face.
Yeah.
So you could like reach over the knobs, and Ryan actually has this one protruding out farther, so you can reach that as the feedback. So it's got 3 foot switches on it in a new form factor, which is really cool. This is like it's a gated fuzz drive here.
Now, does that have to live in a gated community?
Oh man, we're past that segment.
Man. Oh no.
Oh, that needs a do.
There we go.
Oh,
I know. I'm looking for it.
it does not.
So-
Gated fuzz, yeah. So
Yeah,
what's
but
what's the feedback? Is that like a feedback sound? Like
So, yeah, like
emulating
Feedback is what you just gave me about my joke.
Yeah. What does that
Yeah,
mean?
so that's like
It's only getting worse.
traditionally, I haven't done as much research as I should have on here. Traditionally, it's when you feed the end of a circuit back into the front, and like feedback in an amp, when it hears itself, that's when it feeds back.
It makes the feedback
Um,
sound. Yeah.
Exactly. So there's a gated foot switch. You can add aggressive fuzzy gate, give players a synthy gated fuzz tone with hard cuts.
That's cool.
So it's really feature driven. It's got gain, it's got drive,
there's a ton of
tone,
features in this
volume,
thing.
feedback knob. There's a toggle switch, which is the Demon/Lil Fella toggle. It's $180, which is a really great price point
It
for
really
like
is.
what
Price
they're
point
doing.
for
Like
this.
really,
I
really
saw the
good.
price on this and I was like, wait a minute, this should at least be a $250 pedal. So good for good
Easily.
For them. Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
there's some exclusive colors at CME, Sound Parcel, Russo Music, a lot of the really cool ones.
Yeah, I dig
Martel
the,
Music.
I dig the colors.
Okay.
Yeah, they're really good about like offering a
The
wide.
artwork, very cool.
Yeah, very very cool. I mean, I know that they're doing these are printed ones. I think Shannon does a lot of hand painted stuff. I don't know about as much as she used to. Those were always really cool and they went really fast. But yeah, check it out, listener. Fuzz Rocious,
Oh, very
big
cool.
fella.
Yeah.
Very cool. Very cool.
Maybe search it incognito just in case. You know?
You never
Look up
know
the
what's
big
going to
fella.
come up. You type in big fella. It is cool, man. Look, I think it's cool. So, yeah, I like all the colorways that are at the different stores. I mean, really cool.
It's
Very-
very cool.
I don't know
yeah.
which
Very
one.
cool.
I don't know which one I like the most. I don't know. I actually might like the regular one, the one that's on the main product page, just the black and the
Mhm.
blue. Really,
I like
cool.
this. I like this top
blue,
foot switch
dark
with like
blue.
this momentary switch at the top with that you can use
Mhm.
for the feedback and all
He,
that.
he found a
This
way
is
to
very
keep like
cool.
a vertical oriented pedal, having 3 foot switches, but not really feel cramped.
Yeah, it's amazing.
It doesn't
you
look
know?
cramped at all.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's-
and it
it-
doesn't look like as you kind of like reach over to tap it. It doesn't look like you're gonna miss.
Right,
Yeah.
kind of like when your pedals are in the back row, but they're elevated. Like, oh, the Strymons in the back are
Yep.
perfect because they're taller. I'm not going to
Yes.
hit the front row. That's what Ryan's kind of done here, and
Yeah.
and it's similar to what Rick Matthews did with Matthews effects, where like the astronomer, the cosmonaut, like one of the foot switches was higher than the other,
Yep.
so you wouldn't have to worry about hitting both at the same time.
Yep.
That type of thing.
That's
So
great.
really smart on Ryan's part. I was fortunate enough to see this recently in Worcester when we had a show
Oh yeah.
together, which that was really nice. So yeah, I just wanted to call some attention to our friend Ryan and give him some love.
I love it.
All right,
Awesome.
very cool.
Very
All right,
man.
as we kind of wrap up on time, we just want to thank you guys for checking us out. Thanks to our loyal listeners, and like I said at the top, if you're new, check us out next week if you like what you heard. And a huge thanks to Alex. Alex, thanks for coming on. And of course, thank you so much for your sponsorship of the show. We love your stuff. And all your ideas, and you're one of the best out there doing it. So we really appreciate it.
Oh man,
And we get pizza together.
We do. We eat pizza. We eat.
Yes.
For those of you that are Tone Mob fans,
bar pizza.
Yeah, for those of you that are Tone Mob fans, when you talk about pizza, we got some of the greatest pizza ever here in Massachusetts called Bar Pizza, and it's on the South Shore, which is where Alex is, and we like to go down there and try different types, and they're all amazing. So I like it. Oh, you know what? I just got to call out Fuzz Roches. I'm on their website. They have a chorus called the Tyrannochorus.
That's great. That's great.
That's incredible.
Great names. We could do a whole episode on like great pedal names. And you know what we're going to get to over on the Patreon is, I don't know what Alex was calling it, but that word associated, like come up with with a random word,
like a mystery word, and you got to create a product around it.
Yeah, that's right. We're gonna try that at the Patreon.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna try something like that.
We're gonna try that over at the Patreon. So if you want to check that out, go to patreon.com/Guitar Dads Podcast, and you can donate and get an extra episode every week. And we definitely appreciate all of you listeners, and certainly our patrons that are helping this thing go every single week. And check us out at Guitar Dads Podcast on Instagram and Facebook. Come join the group. Lots of fun. And I think for now, that was this week's Guitar Dads Podcast.
That's it. Rock Alive.